Now, this morning, there are growing concerns regarding the refusal of state agencies to comply with the right to information request. Now, the National Security Ministry, for instance, refused to release an investigative report on the assault of a journalist, Caleb Kuda, when the Right to Information Commission wrote to the ministry demanding a justification for the refusal. The ministry did not bother to send a response. The situation is no different with the Lands Commission, which has joined a growing list of agencies to be slapped with such penalties. Joseph Akable is with our research desk, and he joins us on Zoom with more. Joe, so let's start with the National Security Ministry. What accounted for the Commission's decision to impose such an administrative penalty?
So for the National Security Ministry, you recall sometime in 2022, news broke about the fact that a journalist with CTFM, Caleb Kuda, had been allegedly assaulted by officers of the National Security Ministry. And so Fix the Country convener Oliver Bakavomawo wrote to the National Security Ministry because it released a statement indicating that some of its men had conducted it themselves contrary to the standard operating protocol of the National Security, for which reason they had been transferred as part of the administrative sanctions. And so he wrote to the ministry asking that the ministry should provide details of this investigative report, as well as the name of the officers, among other information that he needed in order to know whether indeed there was such a probe and how wrong, because that statement from the National Security Ministry did not explicitly admit that Caleb Kuda was assaulted by the National Security officials. Now, he did not receive any response from the National Security Ministry. So he now wrote again, this time around, to the head of the ministry, in this particular instance, the minister. Again, no response was received, and then he took the matter to the Right to Information Commission. The Right to Information Commission then writes to the Ministry of National Security, asking that it provides a response on why it has not responded to the request for that information to be released. And the National Security Ministry did not respond to that request from the Right to Information Commission as well, meaning that the Right to Information Commission had to, on its own, analyzing the review request from Oliver Bakavomawo to now conclude and issue those directives and direct the order specifically at the minister for payment of the amount to be under 50,000 cedis, as well as provide the various pieces of information that had been requested.
How about the Lands Commission?
For the Lands Commission, it was a request that was sent in the wake of the conversations surrounding the Achimota Forest matter. You recall government had indicated that they had decided to return some parcel of land, part of the forest, to the family that had initially owned the land that government had compulsorily acquired it. And so Occupy Ghana sent a request to the Lands Commission for the list and details of any such lands that the state had returned to allodial title holders after the state had compulsorily acquired them. No responses were coming in. The Lands Commission eventually came with a response that they wanted to know the nature of Occupy Ghana. Subsequently, they said they were writing to the Attorney General to seek the Attorney General's advice, which Occupy Ghana took the view that was not something that was provided for under the Right to Information law. They now decided to seek the intervention of the RTI Commission, and the Commission has now slapped them with the administrative penalties of 100,000 cedis.
Interesting. Grateful. Now, let's now bring in Suleiman Abrahima, Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa. Mr. Abrahima, I'm grateful. I know the Fourth Estate has also been faced with similar challenges, and even in some cases, not even the imposition of penalties resulted in the release of these informations. Where do we go from here?
Well, I think that what we are witnessing is considerable progress. If you look at the fact that the RTI law is relatively new, and I'm saying this in relation to experiences from other countries in our region. So given that we have a commission that is very, very active, deal with cases expeditiously, and issue, its rulings. If you read the rulings that are issued by the commission, you would notice that a lot of efforts have gone into that.
Okay.
I know that since last year, in fact, even 2021, some institutions were fined. They include the Ghana Police Service, the Prison Service, HEFRA, a few of the district assemblies, and others. And of course, the case with the Minerals Commission, where the organization was asked to pay the equivalent of $1,000, and we had to eventually go to the RTI Commission, and the Commission ruled that what we ought to pay was about 2 cedis equivalent to the Commission, and I mean the Minerals Commission. The Commission did not agree and had to go to court on the matter against the RTI Commission. The court ruled in favor of the decision of the RTI Commission, and the Minerals Commission has decided to appeal. So I think that what is happening for me is quite exciting, because people are testing the law, institutions are not complying, people are resorting to the Commission, other institutions are going to court against the Commission. And I believe that eventually we'll come to a point where we consolidate, where people would appreciate that, look, we didn't make the law for fun, we made it for it to work, and so people need to comply with the law.
So for what's happening, and for someone who was part of those who called for this, what's your viewpoint? You think we're making progress, or we need to do more than what we're doing now?
Well, we certainly we are making progress, but of course we have to also do more than we are doing now. It isn't the case that every RTI request is refused. As far as I know, from the experience of the Fourth Estate, for example, more than 50% or 60% of requests are granted. And of course, there have been occasions where requests have also been refused on the basis of exemptions within the law, which is also legitimate. Apart from that, the fact that the Commission is finding or imposing penalties is a mark of progress. I know that several of those institutions that penalties have been imposed on have not yet complied. But I'm also aware that the RTI Commission is actually taking steps to ensure that its orders are enforced, including the recovery of penalties that are imposed. Okay. So processes are ongoing to ensure that that also happens.
Now, what do you think? Must we be looking beyond just fines to change the law, to give the Commission some teeth to bite them?
Well, the law as it is already provides a mechanism for the Commission, the RTI Commission, to bite, to use your word. And the Commission is also in the process of drafting the LI, which will further elaborate the conditions under which the RTI Commission can impose its fines and enforce same. But even before the LI goes through, there are processes that I know the Commission is undertaking to ensure that either they go to court to enforce their penalties and orders, or institutions comply. Otherwise, they have to face the full rigors of the law through the courts or the judicial mechanism.
All right. Grateful to you, sir, for joining us. Mr. Suleiman Brahima is the Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa. Let's